Okay, so we've learned a little bit about for loops, and for loops are basically a way to loop through elements in a list. Now, what I want to show you are things that we can do with lists. I'm going to go to the shell first to try these concepts. And to show you, we're going to create a list. We're going to create a list and we're going to put it in a variable. In Java and C, you call these things arrays. They're not exactly arrays, but let's call them arrays. Okay? So in Java, you might have an array with numbers, like that. Okay? I know it's different, the syntax is different in Java, but this is basically an array. In lists, you can access, the thing here is that you can access a list position just like you would do in any of the traditional languages. If I do a sub 2, I'm going to get the third element, because these things always start from 0. So if I do a sub 2, I'm going to get the third element, 1, 2, so I should get the number 3. If I do a sub 2, I get the number 3. Now let's say we have another one of those lists here with words. Hello, how are you? Okay? If I do b sub 3, I'm going to get the third element here, which is the word r, or u. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3. Third element is u. Okay, so yes, I can access that. However, if I want to do this for word in, and then I do this, range 0, comma, oh, I forgot one thing. Let me do a little parenthesis here. If you want to know how many elements are in this list, in this case how many words, in this case how many numbers, you can do just this. Len of B, for example, how many words are there? 4, right? Len of A will give me the the length of this list. Okay? So usually what people in Java would do, or in C will do, is to see how many elements are here and do a for loop where there's a variable that takes values 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, of 0, 1, 2, and 3, and then you print b sub I. You will do something like this. So we're going to put our little list here. I'm going to copy it from the shell. So let's say you have b there. B is a list. You will say len b. So let me separate these things a little bit. So you have a list b, and then you will do, or for I, just to be more conventional, for I in range 0 to length b. So from 0 to one element less than b, you would say print b sub I. For example, sometimes you need this. Okay. So let's save this. Let's put this actually in the shell. I can copy this and put it in the shell. I can run it as a file, but it's too short a file to run. I'll just put it in the shell. And this actually goes and prints each word from B, because I'm going, I will take in the value 0 first, and then I'm going to print B sub 0, which is the 0th element, or the first element of B. Then I will take the value 1, and I'll print B sub 1, and so on and so forth until I takes 1 less than the length of B, okay? Which is 3. Length of B is 4, so 1 less is 3. 0, 1, 2, 3, and it's going to print b sub 3, which is the last element. But this is doing too much for something that can be done with a lot less. You can just say for I in b, 2, 3, print I. And then what you're saying, it's the same result, but what you're saying here is you're saying for I in the list b, so I will first be hello. In the second iteration, I will be how. In the third iteration, I will be R. And in the fourth iteration, I will be U. I has exhausted the list. Then the iterations stop. Okay? There are no more elements in the list. So this is a much more Pythonic way to get the elements of a list. A lot of first-time Python programmers will just go in this, with this. This is a much better way to do things. Okay, if you know, there's a similar for loop in Java. and in other languages. Okay, you should take a look at those. We're looping through the elements in a list. If you want to say, now here's another thing about lists. You can also say, instead of b sub 2, for example, say r. You can do this. If you do b sub, say, what is b sub 1, and you want b sub 2, and you want b sub 3, what some people do, say you want those, some people will say, okay, print b sub 1 plus b sub 2 plus space plus b sub 3. This is, I'm sorry, I missed a space here. This is concatenation. Okay, this means you're going to print b sub 1, you're going to link it with a space, b sub 2, you're going to link it with a space, and b sub 3, you're going to link it with a space, and you get this result. The word how, which is b sub 1, the space, right here, then the word r, which is b sub 2, then a space, which is right there, right here, and then b3, which is the word u. And you can loop and you can create a program to construct these strings or this text. But Python offers us a much better way to handle lists. If I want to go from the elements from 1 to 3, I can do these, b1 through 3, 1 through 4. That'll go to 1 less than 4. And then that says that's going to go from b sub 1, b sub 2, and b sub 3, and it's not going to get to b sub 4. And it returns the list, how are you? Okay, so we can have in b1 through 4, we have most of this. So we've seen, so far, we've seen the following. We've seen that you can not only loop through a range in the list, this is very inefficient because you're first creating a list of numbers only to loop through a list of elements. It's much better just to loop through the list of elements, okay, and not b sub I. The next thing, if you want to loop or you want a subset of the list, you can just sub-index it, you know, b1 through 4, for example. There are special sub-indices here that we're going to look at. For example, if I do b sub minus 1, that is the last element. It starts counting from the back. So this is the last word in b, which is u. If I do this, b, if I do this, b colon 3, for example, is all the elements up to element 3, including. Okay, so 0, 1, and 2. I'm sorry, 0, 1, and 2. Now, so this is the first 3 elements basically. I can do this also. This means from element 2 on. So element 2 and 3, how are you, right? Then I can do also this. That means the last 2 words. So from element negative 2, so counting backwards 2, starting backwards 2, going all the way to the end of the list. So there's these operators that you can use to do subsets of lists. And there's another operator that I want to touch on, which is the following. It's the plus operator. You can do C equals A plus B. And look what C becomes. All the numbers plus all the words that we had. And you can make this list bigger. You can put things in there just as you would, you know, with numbers. So A plus B means add list B to list A and then create just one big list C. Okay? These are all things you can do with lists. Now we're gonna now the next video will talk about list comprehensions, which are yet one more other powerful thing you can do with lists.